Good day everyone, my name is Richard Dayan Villar. I am a Filipino storyteller from the Philippines, and let me share with you my thoughts and personal experience on cultural appropriation in the Philippines. As a son of a Manobudato, an indigenous person, and a settler Visayan mother, the only thing left in my indigenousness is my father's Manobu blood, because I already affiliated with my mother's Visayan cultural roots, as we already lived in the city center. But I was lucky enough to have undergone that process of what I call indigenization, of developing and enhancing my appreciation and knowledge of the culture and life of indigenous peoples. In college, I was a member of the Mindanao State University Sining Cambayoca. During performances, we have to wear the Muslim Maranao attire because we were telling stories about the Maranao people. And while we were being Maranaos during mealtime, especially when the food was served in public, we were not allowed to eat pork or anything with pork. We were not also allowed to be physically close with the female members of the group, or the female members were not allowed to mingle with the male members. There were also other cultural practices or protocols that we had to observe. I also have worked with Kaliwat. It's a group who did community development initiatives amongst indigenous communities, and inspired by the indigenous people's history and culture, their music and their dances, we produced theater productions. We interpreted their music, interpreted their songs and their dances, and those productions were done with utmost respect and, of course, permission. But these days, there's already the process we call the FPIC, or the Free Prior Informed Consent, required before any project will be done amongst the indigenous communities. In both experiences, we were not accused of cultural appropriation. We were in fact appreciated for showcasing their life and culture, for putting them in center stage. In knowing the meanings of the cultural practices and expressions, we know we did not go wrong. But 2 years ago in Davao City, dance groups were made to report to assign respective chieftain for per indigenous community for approval of the costumes that they would be wearing, the props that they would be using, and the dances and artistic pieces that they have created before performing them in public. Most of these dance groups were non-IPs. They were encouraged to do cultural research and community integration to know the cultural meanings that will guide them in their creations. They were also encouraged to ask permission from the source of their creations. This was so because there were some issues of misrepresentation. Amongst us, the theater artists, when we utilize indigenous culture and materials in our productions, aside from the permission that we had to secure, we also scrutinize our artistic goals by simply asking ourselves, will our creations create a better world? For whom are we doing this creation? Is it for the vast majority of the people or only for a few? How are we going to create our work? Our artistic intention may be good, but that is not enough. We have to exercise, aside from respect, justice. The indigenous peoples, when you are doing it right, will be proud of you, will be grateful of your work, and support you all the way. For non-Filipinos telling Filipino tales, my personal experience tells me that we will be very happy if you do that. There are choral groups and foreign singers, if you have noticed in the internet, singing Filipino songs, and majority of the Filipinos are really very appreciative, even if some words were mispronounced or you put a lot of twang in them, because the essence of singing these songs or telling these stories, that our culture is being given importance or its beauty being acknowledged, makes us proud as people. But please, do it right and give due recognition that you are telling a Filipino tale. We don't require you to wear the barong, that's our national attire, or an indigenous garb when you sing our songs or tell our stories. But if you do, please know what you are wearing, and most importantly, please wear it with pride. I know that not all Filipinos will be appreciative. We cannot expect homogeneous reaction. The Philippines is culturally diverse, and so are our reaction and stand on this issue on appropriation. But I assure you, you have not done harm to the Filipinos if you will do it with respect. Those negative reactions, if there would be any, must not hamper you from appreciating Filipino culture. We all recognize that cultural appropriation has become very complex and divisive, and we must not allow to be divided. Because the ultimate question we only have to ask ourselves is, will this do harm to the source of culture that I am borrowing? Because in any case, we all wanted to create a better world. Thank you very much for listening.